started. Thank you, everyone, for jumping on here. Oh, there we go. This is a voting session for the Anne Arundel County delegation. We have two bills on the agenda today. They are both Senate bills that did not have cross files, and we had the hearing on Friday for those bills. Oh, we're letting in all the stakeholders. Great. We're going to go ahead and do it a little bit in reverse order because I think we might need to have a broader discussion around 227. So we're going to start with Senate Bill 962. This was the Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Licenses Residency Requirement. This expands the requirement for an alcoholic beverages license from being a county resident of Anne Arundel County to a state resident of the state of Maryland. And it passed unanimously in the Senate. Mr. Carpenter, is there anything I missed?
One notable thing is that the license remains valid only as long as the resident remains in the state of Maryland.
Thank you. A very important and pertinent point. So thank you for that. Are there any questions from the members?
So this isn't expanding licenses or giving people extra licenses or anything. So they're not going to have like a state license and a county license or anything.
No, so great question that Mr. Carpenter.
You're correct. It does not do that.
I didn't think so. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
No, thank you for the question. With that, do I have a motion on the bill?
Move favorable.
It's been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and I see that Delegate Rogers and Delegate Schmidt are logging in. So we'll hold the vote for just a moment till they get in here. All right, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Schmidt, hopefully you can hear us. We are currently on the vote for Senate Bill 962. This is the Alcoholic Beverages Licenses Residency Requirement. The bill has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I believe Delegate Kipke's in the waiting room trying to get in.
Oh, thank you.
I do not see a Delegate Kipke in the waiting room. If you can log back out and log back in, we can try that. Thank you.
Or if he's in the hallway and wants to jump into another window. Oh, and there's Delegate Simmons as well. All right, once again, we have a motion. It's been moved and seconded. And we are on Senate Bill 962, Alcoholic Beverages Licenses Residency Requirement. Mr. Secretary, if you can call the roll.
All right, this vote, Madam Chair, is for Senate Bill 962, Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Licenses Residency Requirements. Vice Chair Jones.
Yes.
Delegate Barnes. Delegate Barnes. Delegate Bartlett.
Yes.
Delegate Chang.
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm.
Yes.
Delegate Henson.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Kipke.
Yes.
Delegate Lehman.
Yes.
Delegate Munoz.
Yes.
Delegate Pena-Melnick.
Yes.
Delegate Pena-Melnick, was that a yes?
Yes, that was a yes. Did you hear me?
Yes. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Smith. Delegate Smith. Delegate Simmons.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The vote of 14-0 with 2 absent, the motion carries.
Thank you. And knowing that it appears that Delegate Schmidt and Delegate Kipke are having login issues, we'll make sure to circle back with them and
Delegate Kipke's here.
I'm in
Oh.
Mike, Delegate Mike Rogers' office.
Thank you, Delegate Kipke.
Sir,
Mr. Secretary, did you record Delegate Kipke's vote?
yes, I do, for a yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. All right, so we'll get the letter to the delegation, to the proper committee. The second bill that we're voting on is Senate Bill 227. This is the Anne Arundel County Abandoned Vehicles. Well, we have to vote on the amendment first. The amendment strikes the bill and replaces it with a different part of the transportation code that addresses dirt bikes and ATVs. And I wanted to open it up for discussion because there were questions of, from the hearing, as well as remaining questions about any sort of civil penalties. Our understanding is that this is silent on penalties and that it's at the discretion of the county. But I think we have Ethan Hunt here from the county executive's office. Mr. Hunt, if you want to speak to that, and then we'll open it up for questions from the members.
If I could kick it over to Matt Bennett, he's much more familiar with this from the county council. You're all right
Absolutely.
with that,
Sorry,
Matt?
I didn't see Mr. Bennett. I didn't see you there in the window. Thank you.
Correct. The questions regarding the penalty provisions. This is just dealing with Maryland vehicle law, and there is a catch-all that says violations of Maryland vehicle law, which is Title 11 through Title 27 of the transportation article. The catch-all in penalty provisions is a $500 fine unless a specific provision provides for an enhanced penalty.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Before we open it for discussion, let me get a motion on the amendment.
Do we have the amendment? I mean, I'm looking at the third reader from the Senate side, but I don't see an amendment.
The amendment was with the bill for the hearing on last Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send out a quick reprint to all the members.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an amendment.
Please resend.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an amendment. I mean, like I said, I'm looking at third reader on it, but
Yeah, the amendment was introduced by the bill sponsor at the delegation hearing.
Can
Move
you
the
have
amendment.
second?
Delegate Melnick, you were trying to say something, and then Delegate Henson. The amendment's
said
moved and seconded. Oh, okay, thank you. Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 questions, if I may. The first is, are these traffic stops, are these subject to the same rules as traffic stops? I know that there are reporting requirements where we get valuable data on our traffic stops. Would this be enforced like a traffic stop, or is it a different procedure?
I can't speak for the police department. I assume it would be handled the same way any other traffic stops are handled.
Okay. And then the second is, could you give us a understanding of the upper limits? I know that you mentioned the $500 fine, and that if there were other enhancements that may be available, the fine could be different than that. Could you give us a feel for those types of enhancements that would qualify and what the fine could be like, or penalty in general at any of the upper limits?
So I don't have the enhanced penalties under the transportation article memorized. I know DUIs jump out at me as one that has enhanced penalties under its provisions, and the driving while intoxicated provisions all do have enhanced penalties, but I don't know. I think the DUIs, it escalates based on the number of prior history that you have, and can does have some considerable jail time attached to it.
And then just to follow up on that, do we know if the penalties are different if the operator is a juvenile versus an adult?
I do not know whether the vehicle laws differentiate whether the operator is a juvenile or adult. I think that might be influenced in how they charge the operator, whether they charge them as a juvenile or an adult. Because there's a diversionary program, I believe, if you're charged as a juvenile.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Henson. And just a reminder to the members, because we are amending this bill in the House, it will have to go back to the Senate as well, because the bill that passed out of the Senate we're striking that bill with this amendment, and so it will have to go back to the Senate. So if there are further concerns, the Senate will have another opportunity to consider this bill, and so we can reach out to the Senate sponsor as well. Delegate Howard.
They can hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. So just for the sake of clarity, because the amendment has struck the bill, what are we doing now?
Currently, the motion is on the amendment.
Right, but
we're in discussion on the amendment. Oh, you mean what does the amendment do? Mr. Carpenter.
Absolutely. So this amendment authorizes Anne Arundel County to regulate in their county the Maryland vehicle laws with respect to like ATVs, off-road vehicles, motorbikes, those types of things. So they're enforcing state law locally.
So, but because it's called abandoned vehicle, so I just, because, you know, I want to make sure there's no confusion.
That part of the title is stricken.
Okay, so essentially ATVs, four-wheelers, dirt bikes on the road are impounded?
So none of that's happening now in Anne Arundel County. The county doesn't have the authority to impound them. The impoundment language, so the bill, Mr. Carpenter was right, the bill is going to allow the regulation and the enforcing of Maryland motor vehicle law, but it'll also allow Anne Arundel County to consider legislation at the local level dealing with impoundment of those vehicles. Currently, they can't consider that.
That I'm not, that I don't have a problem with, but I will tell you that I do have some concerns being in a rural and representing a rural area. Some of these vehicles are farm use and hunting use. And quite frankly, they are on some of the back roads and things to get, you know, to other pieces of farms. The farms aren't contiguous. So sometimes you will have a hunter or a farmer use one of these vehicles to get from one portion of property to the next.
And I would just respond that I suspect that would be a consideration that the Anne Arundel County Council would take into consideration with any local legislation that they were to consider. This bill wouldn't directly impact that situation. That would be something that they would take up when they if they looked at local legislation on this.
But if they look at local legislation, this bill allows for the impoundment of these vehicles and allows for state law and the impoundment and the ticketing of these vehicles and their operators in Anne Arundel County. That would only be contingent upon the county council if they even took a look at this legislation. Although this piece of legislation allows them to do that, there's no guarantee that they are going to do that and sort of bifurcate out farm use or anything like that. So, okay.
Thank you, Delegate Howard. I'm actually talking with our vice chair, and our vice chair is going to make a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to special order this bill to the next available time so everyone can have a second to read this.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
All right. So we're going to hold this bill. We are going to special order it to the appropriate time. We're going to schedule it for Friday. I'll look at the calendar and we'll get some more information. We'll request additional information from the county and from the bill sponsor because I want to make sure everyone's comfortable voting on what we're voting on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, members, for jumping on and just watch your email and listen on the floor for further announcements. And we'll get additional information. We'll request additional information from the county and from the bill sponsor to make sure that we have the information we need before our voting session on Friday. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.